watching Pac-12 Los Angeles, where champions play.
Looks like a perfect beach day in Southern California. UCLA certainly thinks so. They have won 7 in a row. They're on a roll. Long Beach State standing in their way. Next. How about a little beach volleyball from Southern California on Pac-12 Network? It's a top 10 matchup. 4th-ranked UCLA hosting number 6 Long Beach State at Sunset Canyon Beach volleyball courts. As we take a look at the poll, the top teams in the nation, the intensity is on as these teams amongst the top. USC and Pepperdine flipped this week. USC now the number 1 team in the nation. Again, Pepperdine hot on their tail at number 2. Hi, everybody. Thanks for joining us. I'm Anne Marie Anderson alongside 3-time Olympian Holly McPeak. And Holly, we look at that poll. We know these teams vying to get to the national championship just 3 weeks away.
Yes, just this past weekend, these two teams, UCLA and Long Beach State, met. UCLA won 5-0 in some bad conditions. It was raining, but this is an important match. Long Beach State, if they want to win an at-large bid, there's 3 for the West Coast or West, 3 for the East, 2 at-large bids. They need to win this match. For UCLA, they're the hot team. They need to maintain their ranking to win that bid to the NCAA tournament.
Yeah, let's talk about Hermosa Beach the other day a little bit. UCLA comes out of there with 2 wins, but for Long Beach State, 2 losses. And so what do you expect them to work on today?
Well, I know they've been battling injuries, trying to find the right lineups to put out there. I think they have nothing to lose. Come out and play hard and try and fight to get that ranking back.
Both of these teams looking to finish the season strong. Just a couple of weeks left. Right now, battling it out, trying to get noticed by the committee as they prepare for the national championship.
You're watching Pac-12 Los Angeles.
It's true car.
Welcome back, Southern California, another beautiful day, and we are on the campus of UCLA inside Sunset Canyon Beach volleyball courts, to be specific, for a little beach volleyball. The season coming to a conclusion pretty soon, and so an important match here. 2 courts of action will happen simultaneously. We'll get to court 2 and the 4 pairs later, but we're going to start our action on court number 1 and the 2 pairs for each of these teams. And there's been some switching around recently for Long Beach State. And so Long Beach State's 2 pair, Zoya Konstantopoulou and Janelle Hudson, will face off against UCLA's Camila Tan and Ivy Schmidt.
Yes, Long Beach State made a move to switch this team, Janelle Hudson and Zoya Konstantopoulou, to their 2s because Nayla Barber and Rachel Nieto were the hot team and proved themselves to be the number 1s.
It'll be an interesting matchup, as we talked about both of these teams playing in Long Beach State last week. And this format's a little bit different. Taking a look at the format here at UCLA.
This is a true team format. 5 matches of pairs. You need to win 3 of those 5 to win the duel. The first flight, that means the first round of games, will be pairs 2 and 4, and second flight, pairs 1 and 3. The third flight will be pair 5 if necessary, where we're going to play 2 out of 3. First 2 sets to 21, win by 2. Third set, if necessary, to 15, win by 2 as well.
All right, so let's hit the action on court 1 as they're about to start. And Konstantopoulou and Janelle Hudson, in fact, we'll save ourselves and call her just Zoya, as has been recommended to us by head coach Mike Campbell of Long Beach State. So Zoya and Janelle Hudson facing, and Hudson serving. An early kill.
Camila Tan and Ivy Schmidt have been playing very well for UCLA.
Zoya passes and then tries to knuckle off the block.
Zoya from Cyprus has dual citizenship and has some international experience, so she brings that to this Long Beach State team, but she's really trying to find her confidence lately on the beach.
Up at the net. Didn't leave her feet, Schmidt, there. She just saw the opening.
Well, she saw the opening because Janelle Hudson for Long Beach State cheated down the line, and that opened up the cross-court poke.
As Schmidt serves, she again goes towards Zoya, but it is wide.
The referee is actually going to come down and check that out. Long Beach State says it's out. UCLA is cheering for an ace. So the referee, Jim Graham, longtime referee, will come down, check the ball mark. And in the sand, the ball will leave a mark. So it's, if you go to the right spot, the ball won't lie.
Jim Graham, as you mentioned, a veteran referee in this sport, still a fairly new collegiate sport. Graham been around for all those beach matches you played in. 72 wins, 3 Olympic Games. How long have you seen him?
Well, I also played high school volleyball at Maricosta High with his daughter, Sydney. So we go way back. But that ball ruled out. The ball mark did not touch any part of the line.
Hudson serving for the beach. Little knuckle. Hudson grabs it. Zoya will be the designated blocker all day, and Tan puts it over her.
Well, that ball set a little too tight, but Camila Tan got her feet there, high poke, got a touch off the block, and the kill for UCLA.
You mentioned that Zoya out of Greece looking for some confidence. Her partner, Janelle Hudson, a fantastic indoor setter.
And they've really been trying to find their confidence and their chemistry as a team. This ball set tight, and right now UCLA setting the ball tight and just poking it around the block.
We had an opportunity to talk with Stein Metzger, UCLA's head coach, before the match, and he mentioned that in terms of being more aggressive with the setting. Where's the advantage in that?
Well, you always want to put the ball on top of the net or as close to the net as possible, because that makes the other team stay at the net and block you, meaning there's only one defender to track your ball defensively, as long as you can clear that block.
Zoya serves Schmidt. Little hand over Schmidt, or over Zoya.
Well, you see, because that ball set tight to the net, Zoya stays in block. She blocks line. You'll see the defense set up on the left, and that leaves the line shot over the block wide open.
Dug down the line. Tan has no one up. Janelle Hudson gets a hand on it.
Great retreating block by Camila Tan. She started her block position at the net, dropped, made the dig, and then in transition, no block in front of her, she puts that ball away. Hard angle for UCLA.
Schmidt, part of UCLA's first recruiting class a couple of years ago, watches that ball. It goes wide.
Janelle Hudson tried to do a tricky back bump set over the net, missing that wide.
And here is Schmidt, just a sophomore, playing with the senior Tan. Pulling off, the ball is long, and Schmidt will continue to serve. It's an 8-3 lead, UCLA. Poked up by Hudson. This time Zoya is going to pull off, and as Tan thinks about the corner, she goes wide.
Transition setting is such an important part of that game, and that ball set too far off the net for UCLA to score.
With Hudson back to serve. Tan sets, it's tight. Zoya waiting for it, funneled straight to Hudson, but the dig is not settable.
Well, Ivy Schmidt did a good job turning to avoid the block, hit it sharp. Janelle Hudson there, you see her in the sharp cross court, sticks an arm out, but the power drove it out of bounds.
And the over dig, Schmidt pokes, but not far enough, and Hudson has an opportunity to put it away.
Good ball by Janelle Hudson. She dug that ball and then came in hard. She was a setter indoors, but shows she's physical and can get up and put that ball away for a point. Such a great athlete.
Yeah, former Big West Player of the Year, the starting setter, as you mentioned. Mom played at Hawaii, so she's got some time in the sand. But as you mentioned, Mike Campbell saying that these two, they have some experience, but they've had a tough go as of lately. He's trying to find kind of what works best for them.
Well, Janelle Hudson's been battling injury, so that means she can't practice a lot. And beach volleyball is a sport where you need touches on the ball to have that good offensive hand control, you know, to move around the court and have confidence covering the court. You need to be out there practicing.
Camila Tan stays with it on the block, and so it's funneled directly to the Bruin digger, but hard.
Well, I like Long Beach State. When they pass well, they like to run a play set. That time, running a back bump set and create some movement on the defense, and Zoya's able to put that ball away.
Oh, hold it. You okay there? There we go.
Schmidt up, no one on. Hudson loves that one, hand digs it. Zoya stays on Tan, Tan unloads.
You heard Ivy Schmidt yell, line, line, line. Camila Tan, feeling really aggressive, just goes and hits that ball hard angle, feeling confident she can put that ball away.
And Long Beach State hasn't appeared to really decide on whether they're going to serve Tan or Schmidt. They've about split it between the two of them. Meanwhile, UCLA has spent most of their time serving Zoya. Off the net. It's good.
Well, Zoya's left-handed. She has a little bit less offensive range because she's not a big jumper. This ball's set because the pass is so far off the net. The set's way off the net. She's able to get that to drop.
4-point lead now as the gap has been narrowed a bit. Zoya staying on Schmidt. Smart by Schmidt.
Ivy Schmidt came in, looked like she was going to hit hard angle. Nice little roll shot over the block. Well played.
Five-point lead. Set is to 21. No long rallies yet. Hudson pulls out her hands, and Jim Graham says no.
I actually thought that came out pretty well. It was a little bit tight on the, I mean, this isn't the pros. Janelle Hudson has some nice hands. Tough break.
A serve to follow it up from Schmidt.
From middle, right down the middle. That's a tough ball if you don't communicate and serve receive.
And it's also tough, Holly, I mean, when Hudson gets called on her hands there, and then Schmidt gets her maybe still thinking about that serve, and it's a 7-point lead for the Bruins.
Pac-12 Network.
After the side switch, UCLA picked up another point, and Schmidt serving now, continuing to put the pressure on Zoya. Well, ball's dug, but both are down.
Well, both Bruins there to dig that deep middle ball, and then neither one can get up to set it.
Yeah, Schmidt and Tan played together for part of last year as well. Their partnership stronger this year, says Stein Metzger. Schmidt goes for the corner, and it looks good. Long Beach State, meanwhile, trailing by 8. Mike Campbell trying to find the right combinations for his team. He's in his second season as the head coach of this team.
Well, he had a rough year because he had two big players who he expected to be in his beach volleyball roster did not end up playing. So he had to really scramble around, find the right combinations, and then right off the bat, he played 4 ranked teams. So it was a tough way to start the season, down in terms of depth, and then against all ranked teams. So they've been slowly trying to find their way back.
Here we go, ladies.
Camila Tan serving. Continues to press at Zoya and gets an ace.
Great aggressive serve right at Zoya's head, and that ball is dropping right in the corner. UCLA going at it from the service line. I think that's a really important ingredient to success in beach volleyball.
Well, in our conversation with Stein before the match, talking about exactly that, the serving and the setting, aggression makes that little inch of a difference.
Absolutely. Aggressive serving really sets up your defense as well. And Stein talked about the difference between this year and last year. It's a buy-in. All these players are buying into what they're teaching and want to be part of this winning program, and everybody's having a great time doing it.
Yeah, Stein Metzger in his 4th year as the head coach of this program. It's the 4th year of UCLA's program, I should say. The first year, he told us, a month before the season, they threw their indoor team out here, and it has built since then. And Tan and Schmidt, this UCLA team that you're looking at, really a big part of that foundation. Tan, the first ever beach-only player as she transferred from UC San Diego, and Ivy Schmidt, part of their first recruiting class specifically for beach.
Exactly, and now Camila Tan is a senior, so she's got to see this program really develop from the beginning, and I think she's excited where they are right now as a program.
10-point lead in set number 1. Zoya, the lefty, turns it down inside the block.
Ivy Schmidt was not wide enough to block that line, and for a lefty, you have to be in front of her hitting shoulder to stop that line hit.
Tan and Schmidt, 11-6 record as partners this year. Good second year pairing for these two. Zoya stays up, the block from her.
Long Beach State starting to get a little bit of momentum. It's a little late in this first set, but a nice block there by Zoya.
So it's a side switch for these two, and for Hudson and Zoya, what changes or adjustments do you think they need to make?
For Long Beach State, you know, they've been struggling with their side out. They need to pass better, set to the net, and then obviously play more aggressive from the service line. That's what sets up your defense and helps you score points.
Schmidt will be hitting. Gets it off the top of Zoya's hands.
That time, Ivy Schmidt saw the defense, goes nice high over the angle block. You see Zoya lined up in the angle. Good deep cross-court shot.
Schmidt and Tan closing in on capturing set number 1, the first match to go of this top 10 matchup on Pac-12 Network. Everybody pulling off. Tan digs and then crushes.
Ivy Schmidt and Camila Tan this year so much better chemistry-wise. They're both on the same page playing for one another, and that's so important in the sport of beach volleyball. You can see their chemistry so much better.
Set point for UCLA. Pokey. Tan blocks it. And not a step taken as Hudson goes down over her left shoulder.
Janelle Hudson, good hand turn down the line. When you're in trouble and you've got a good hand, it can get you out of a lot of trouble offensively.
It remains set point. Solid block by Zoya.
Zoya having some success blocking that angle. She blocked one, then Schmidt went over her one and then blocks the third one. So she's 2 for 3. That's pretty good.
Yet the pressure is on. Whatever Hudson and Zoya can take into the next set will be valuable for them, but it's going to remain set point. And right there, the Bruins close it out with set 1 victory.
Well, that ball set tight to the net because they want to get up and be aggressive with an open net.
Tan and Schmidt capture set number 1 for the Bruins. Everybody on deck. Lots of action here.
You done yet?
One last screw when you add a second line.
Well, how's that for stadium seating, if you will, inside Sunset Canyon Beach volleyball courts? The fans are out. Senior day, those are the seniors whose large faces you're seeing, kind of supported by the fans here. And set number 2 on court number 1. It's the 2 pairs, and Zoya and Janelle Hudson have a lot of work to do for Long Beach State. Tan and Schmidt took set number 1.
Tan and Schmidt playing very comfortably and putting a lot of pressure with some tough serving, but Ivy Schmidt doing a good job seeing the block, going around it.
Konstantopoulou, high to the back.
That's a tough ball to defend if you're UCLA. If you can't stop it at the net, look how this one just goes deep to the corner, cross court. That's a great shot.
And as you mentioned, Konstantopoulou has a lot of beach experience, international experience, coming from Greece. But it doesn't necessarily translate as easily as you might hope. And she's had a little bit of a rough go lately, according to Mike Campbell.
Well, according to Mike Campbell, he said, you know, she was adjusting to the college game, and balls that were dropping internationally when she was competing were not dropping here at the college game. So she's trying to retweak her game so she can have success at this level.
The strategy has not changed since it worked for UCLA. Konstantopoulou receiving the early serves of this second set. Cutting it the other way. How about that for a short shot? Falling back.
From the left side, the lefty goes cross-court cut shot. Beautiful execution by the lefty from Long Beach State.
That's all right. Let's go, Mila. Right here, Ivy.
Hudson back to serve, tied up at 2 apiece in the second set. Ball's out.
Long Beach State with their first lead of the match, 3-2 in the second set.
And an ace serve for Janelle Hudson, tied up no more, 4-2 now for Long Beach State.
Janelle Hudson's got a heavy arm. She puts some power behind this ball, catches Ivy Schmidt a little by surprise.
Tip chop, tip top chop, tip.
Next serve goes long as she's looking for that back line. And Holly, when you talk about serving tough in beach volleyball, there's a bunch of different ways to interpret that. One is the back line, but there's many others.
Well, you don't want to serve right at the player. You want to make them move. Even if you're trying to attack one certain player, make them move. Serve them short, serve them deep. A jump floater, which is the ball that moves and drops. You always want to keep them guessing. You don't want your side out team, your opponent, to be in a rhythm.
Tan serving.
Oh, nice idea.
Another long serve goes out. Konstantopoulou serves down the line. Schmidt dug well by Hudson, and what a play for Long Beach State.
Long Beach State playing some defense, scoring some real points. Watch this dig. Janelle Hudson, good defensive instincts, and then Zoya with the poke shot over the block.
No one on.
Open net. Ivy Schmidt puts it away deep middle. UCLA needs to get some defensive momentum going on their side of the net.
They do. Long Beach State with 3 kills in this set. Much more offensive and aggressive than they have been in set number 1. Right. Again, Konstantopoulou seeing the court.
Yeah, but I think UCLA's, they're picking on her, but they're serving the ball too easy. She's got an easy pass. She gets an approach, can look at the court, make her move, make her uncomfortable. And I think that's a better serving strategy. Wind is definitely picking up here. You see Camila Tan's hair blowing. Wind can definitely affect this sport, and you see that ball moving and dropping. Zoya with another kill. Long Beach State playing so much better, just making plays.
You talk about the wind. We always talk about the serve, the way the wind can impact the serve, but also the set really comes into play quite a bit.
Absolutely. The wind can affect every part of the game. How you pass, how you set, how you approach the ball, how you serve the ball. and how you swing at the ball, whether you're on the good side or the bad side. The good side means the wind is blowing in your face. You can stay behind the ball and be very aggressive. When the wind's at your back, the ball drops. You have to make sure you make a nice hand snap to keep the ball in the court.
Meanwhile, Hudson and Konstantopoulou really had a little bit of rhythm going, and then it's been a series of missed serves. And not capitalizing on their strong net play. Tan shuts it down, and the gap is close to just one.
Good choice for Camila Tan for UCLA to stay up at the net. Zoya gets a nice set, wants to hit that ball. Camila Tan presses over and says nope.
Konstantopoulou is aced by Schmidt's serve and tied up now at 8 apiece.
Well, I like that serve because it was away from Zoya Konstantopoulou. Made her move and she would shank the pass. So little movement can create problems.
Yeah, that 3-point lead has evaporated for Long Beach State. Good turn down the line, but better dig from Hudson. Hudson traveling cross country, and it's worth it, a point for the Beach.
Janelle Hudson's showing you her defensive instinct. She makes some good moves defensively, controls the ball, and has a nice hand to get UCLA in trouble in transition.
Little pokey. Hudson says, no problem, I got your back. No one on. And now fitness is going to start coming into play, as these are some big runs, especially that Hudson's had to go on. Zoya says, I got your back.
Long rally, and then yes, when everyone's tired, a little bit dug in, the little back bump set over the net drops for Long Beach State.
Hudson has been all over the place the last 2 points. Up to 2.
Good aggressive swing, open net. Ivy Schmidt takes advantage.
For UCLA, they're not going to change their strategy foreseeably, because Konstantopoulou they've had some success with, even though it's still close. But how do you attack this combination of Tan and Schmidt if you're Long Beach State?
For one, with a tough serve, get a little tweak in the play. There you see the ball set too tight. Zoya makes an error. But it starts with the serve that's not right at her, and then she has to move way inside to try and put that ball away. That's to UCLA's advantage.
A small 2-point run for the Bruins ties everything back up at 10 apiece. And poke down.
That time Camila Tan cheating to the line.
A tenuous lead for Hudson and Konstantopoulou. 1-point lead in set number 2.
How many?
Pac-12 Los Angeles.
Hey, get up! Top 10 volleyball going on just a few yards away. All right, she's resting, basking in the sun. That's kind of the atmosphere at times, but she's missing some great volleyball a few yards away. I'm sure, Holly, she'll open her eyes in a second.
I thought that was you for a minute.
Oh, you're so mean. Tied up at 11 apiece. She's way more fit and a better swimmer than me, I guarantee it. Set number 2. So set number 1 dominated by UCLA. What adjustments has Long Beach State made in this set that have been so successful for them?
Some tough serving and some good defensive plays. Janelle Hudson digging lots of balls, giving Long Beach State an opportunity to score.
Yeah, and Konstantopoulou double the kills that she had in the first set already, and we're only halfway through. She's got 6 kills already in just this set.
I felt like Long Beach State in the first set didn't get any traction going, no defense, and Janelle Hudson is a great defender.
Yeah, Hudson has made some big plays.
Here you see Ivy Schmidt go up aggressive, hits right at Janelle Hudson, who's unable to control it.
Tan with an ace serve off Hudson.
You know what's interesting about that? All match long they've been going at Zoya Konstantopoulou, and they serve one at Hudson and she shanks it. Hudson is an indoor setter. She doesn't pass the ball a lot. Plus, when your partner's getting all the serve, she finds the rhythm.
Second consecutive goes to Hudson. You wonder if the strategy has just been changed. Because to your point, she doesn't pass a lot, she doesn't hit a lot, and she's a setter, so they've been having her set Konstantopoulou the whole time anyway.
Which is a comfortable formation. Right. But there, she's able to pass the ball well and side out with a nice shot.
Schmidt up. Konstantopoulou was waiting for her. The follow by Tan.
Great cover play by Camila Tan. When you go up and get blocked, you want your partner there covering. That is a nice move, and UCLA gets the kill.
Going for the seam. Konstantopoulou takes it. She wants to hit, of course. The bigger of the two players and stay up there and block.
Konstantopoulou with a kill. Deep rainbow drops. Long Beach State playing so much better in the second set. You see the confidence.
I mean, isn't that the mark of a great team? We saw this last week a lot when we were calling Cal and Stanford. The second set, the adjustments you can see. Because during a match, during a set, there's not a lot of coaching that can happen. The adjustments happen between sets.
Absolutely, unless you've got a really mature, experienced team. There you see Long Beach State drops off the net, leaves an open net. Ivy Schmidt makes the hitting there long.
Yeah, you cannot coach from the sidelines during play, only on that maybe slow walk, switching sides, and during timeouts. Over the hands, well placed by Schmidt.
Well, that time Ivy Schmidt saw the defense and knew where to put the ball. Again, Long Beach State choosing to block her angle. Ivy Schmidt takes a good look. Easy shot over the ankle block.
Konstantopoulou up. Tan goes at it, but Hudson, one arm dig, and then looks to use the hands of Ivy Schmidt.
Janelle Hudson, I know she was an indoor setter, but offensively she's got a good arm and a really nice offensive hand. Goes high off the blocker's hands for the Long Beach State point.
You know, Holly, when we're talking about adjustments, there's some crossover between indoor and beach players. Coaches are getting away from it a bit. But the indoor coaches say what they do like about it is that it forces players to think. When the players come back to them indoor, they're used to thinking a little bit more for themselves, making the adjustments themselves, because nobody's going to bail you out.
Exactly, and I think that's a plus win-win for both indoor and beach.
This has been tied up most of the way, tied up again at 16 all. I think since 3-3 we've been trading points for the most part, maybe a 2 or 3 point run. Tan pokes back, but Hudson's got it all covered right now. No one on, and a great pull.
That ball was not hard driven, so Zoya has to retreat and get her hands together. She cannot dig that with hands apart and lift that.
Flying good here, thank you.
Schmidt back to serve. Is she going to go for the seam again or go at Hudson, where they've had a little more success? But she stays with Konstantopoulou. Hudson digging everything, but it was tight and over. Off the fingers of Konstantopoulou.
That time, tight set, able to just use the blocker's hands out of bounds. Good long rally, nice defense by both teams.
And his 2 point lead, the largest for UCLA in this set. Pac-12 has been growing this sport year by year, and of course we mentioned USC, the #1 team in the nation. USC, UCLA, Arizona, all in the hunt to get to Gulf Shores, Alabama for the national championship.
Absolutely, and we saw Stanford, California last week. Both teams building their programs, and I believe 4 of the 5 matches went to 3 sets, so it's very exciting to see these programs build and play a competitive match.
Yeah, and Beth Lanier at Utah excited that they're going to bring in beach volleyball next season as well. And so the growth of the sport, well represented within the Pac-12 conference. Of course, Oregon and Washington. We'll see all these teams at the first ever Pac-12 tournament, championship tournament on Pac-12 Network at the end of this month.
I'm looking forward to seeing that, especially Washington and Oregon. Those are two teams. Well, we saw Oregon last year. We have not seen them this year.
And it'll be interesting. It could be really tough on Arizona, UCLA, and USC to play in that tournament as they're vying for a spot in Gulf Shores, too. That's why, a week before the national championship, facing some very tough competition, but also showing everybody any holes you still have in your facade. Konstantopoulou blocked by Tan.
That time again, Camila Tan stays to block and has success.
Tan and Schmidt have been chasing most of this set. They tie up, and then Hudson and Konstantopoulou get ahead by 1 or 2. Now they are pressing to end this match in 2 sets and get the first point of the duel for UCLA. Konstantopoulou stays there. Tan squeaks it in the perfect spot. And it is now match point for UCLA. Schmidt serving. Konstantopoulou slowed down by Tan. And the put away by Camila Tan. UCLA sweeps the first match. And the twos have picked up the first point of the duel for the Bruins.
Well played by UCLA, especially to go back at Zoya and come back in that second set.
It is a 1-0 lead by the Bruins. It was a 5-0 run to end that second set.
I love you, California.
The Bruins struck first point of the duel on the board for the UCLA Bruins as their two-pair Tan and Schmidt took out Long Beach State's twos. And so you take a look. This is the match summary. We'll be revisiting it throughout. Holly, Hudson and Konstantopoulou made big adjustments, but it wasn't enough.
It wasn't enough, and Tan and Schmidt came back, finished after, I believe it was 15-all, and made some good defensive adjustments and plays to win that 2 straight.
We're going to have a little bit of an adjustment. Next flight of games will be the 1s and the 4s, and then after that, we'll have the 3s and 5s if necessary. Hi, everybody. Well, I get not only to sit with Holly McPeak, but also with Jenny Johnson-Jordan. And Jenny, an Olympian and an NCAA champion. And Jenny, how far has this UCLA team come during the course of this season?
Oh, we've come very far. I mean, we had a really great off season in the fall, training 5 days a week up here at the courts, training a lot, and we've come a long way. We had a lot of great competition in the beginning of this season, and it's paying off now at the latter part of our season.
In terms of the big picture, where do you guys see yourself? I know you're ranked in the top 4 for pushing for an NCAA title.
Yeah, one of our themes for this year is a team on the rise, and that's definitely what we've been doing this season. We want to make the national championships in Alabama, and we want to make our presence known while we're there.
What has been the biggest difference from last year to this year in this program?
I just think a lot of maturity, a lot of growth. We've gotten a lot more matches and a lot more experience, and I think that's helped our team a lot. Of course, we've had some great freshmen coming in with Nicole and Megan and Izzy, and that's helped a lot too. And each year we're just going to get better and better with each recruiting class.
You talked about Nicole and Megan, the McNamaras. You're going to be coaching on the other court, the 4s, Bushler and Muno. Tell us a little bit about this pairing. As we know, Muno, lots of beach experience, but Bushler has really come a long way according to...
She really has. I mean, she came out here very green, not knowing a lot about the beach game, but she's caught on really quickly, and she's obviously a great hitter, a great blocker, and she's able to pull for us as well, and Zana is able to play a pretty good defense around her and just work around her block.
So when you're on the bench with a team like that, somebody with experience, somebody with less experience, how do you guide them?
Well, Zana does a great job of kind of coaching Riley up when she needs to on the court, and then I just, try to give them little tidbits here and there as we cross. As you know, as coaches, we don't have a ton of time with our athletes, so just try to give them little pointers here and there just to help them make adjustments during the match.
And as we talk about the McNamara twins, they have been on a really nice roll lately. They're not super big for people that don't see them. What's the key to their consistent success?
Well, they're very seasoned players. Even though they're freshmen, they have a lot of international experience, They handle the ball very well, and they play a lot bigger at the net than they actually are. And I think just because of their wisdom with the game, they're able to do a lot more given their size.
Well, thanks so much for taking the time to join us, Jenny. And before we let you go, we want to talk about how tight this last 3 weeks is trying to get to Gulf Shores. How exciting is it for you to have an NCAA-sponsored championship for this sport the first time this year?
It's very exciting. I've seen the progression of this sport in the last 5 years and where it's come from and where it is now, and we're really excited to have that first year as an NCAA sport and really showcase the sport for all the great qualities that it has.
Well, we're really excited to have you here, and we'll have more action coming up as we see those McNamara twins and we see Bushler and Muno. Thanks so much for joining us, Jenny Johnson, Jordan. More beach action coming right up. It looks like Stein Metzger getting a pep talk.
You done yet?
One last screw, sweetie, and we're done.
Welcome back to Sunset Canyon Beach Volleyball Courts, Pac-12 Network Beach Volleyball. UCLA and Long Beach State squaring off UCLA's. Two pairs pick up the first point of this duel. Hey everybody, I'm Anne-Marie Anderson alongside three-time Olympian Holly McPeak. And Holly, this year, the first year that there's an NCAA-sponsored championship, both of these teams feeling the pressure. It's only a couple weeks away.
Absolutely. Everybody wants to be there. Right now, we know this. 3 teams from the West, 3 teams from the East, 2 at-large bids. Everybody vying, obviously, to be in that top 3 group from your region or area. But if not, you want to have the best record with some important wins to get that at-large bid.
Yep, and because we talk big picture. We'll talk a little bit about the West Coast teams, Pepperdine and USC 1 and 2. Who else do you see from the West Coast vying for those spots?
Well, it's interesting. UCLA making a big push for that 3rd spot, but Hawaii's had a pretty good season, and Arizona making a good run of it too. So it's going to be very competitive till the end.
And so how important is this match then, this duel for Long Beach State?
Well, for Long Beach State, it's a must-win in my mind. For UCLA, I think it's very important too if they want to remain in that top 3 from this region.
Yeah, it'll be really interesting to see, too, what happens in the Pac-12 championships. This is also the first year that we're having that tournament. And so it's at the end of the month where you will see the teams within the Pac-12 facing each other. Coverage at USC begins April 29th. They're going to have a pairs and a team championship, Holly, different than the national championship, which is just team championship. What are the pros and cons of that?
Well, I think for the pairs, it's a nice opportunity for teams to compete just as a team, just 2-on-2, and represent their school. But it's really all about the team, like representing your school and not the pairs.
Yeah, it shows the depth of a program. Right now, action about to begin in our second flight of games. Court 2, the 4 pairs, Garner and Grahovec facing Bushler and Muno. But we're going to start our action on Court 1 with the 1s pairs. We talked about Nicole and Megan McNamara for UCLA, who have been on a roll. They're going to be facing Nayla Barber and Rachel Nieto, who they faced this weekend and had success against for Long Beach State.
Yeah, I actually like both of these teams a lot. We saw this specific Long Beach State team, Barber and Nieto. They were playing at 2s with a big win at USC over the 2s there. And, of course, just 2 weeks ago, this UCLA team beat the undefeated Pepperdine Waves at the time.
Yeah, and speaking with Mike Campbell, the Long Beach State head coach, before this match, he really likes this matchup better. He said the first time his 1 pairs were Konstantopoulou and Hudson, but he feels like Barber and Nieto is a great matchup for these two, in part because of Nieto's defense.
Well, defensive speed matches up well because this McNamara team, the McNamara twins, are very quick and defensive. They got great ball control. Rachel Nieto has that too, as well as some beach experience.
And number 13 for UCLA, Nicole McNamara, for those of you watching, she's the one with the blue tape on her left shoulder. There's your giveaway, is a left-handed hitter. And Mike Campbell said, look, I'm a lefty. I've been training them all week long. We've talked about how to receive and dig and defend against a lefty.
And I think that's a good way to prepare for this UCLA team. But UCLA, Nicole and her sister Megan put a lot of pressure on teams with their serve and their defense. They play big.
That was a heck of a dig by Nicole McNamara there, and there's another one. Sister Megan sets her. She turns just a little bit too much down the line.
Beautiful defense and set, and then Nicole McNamara trying to go down the line, turns it about 4 inches wide.
You know, it's interesting, something you said in the last match is actually true on the other side for this one. Stein Metzger telling us that the McNamara twins earlier this season had a 6-7 start, and they were saying, look, the stuff that used to fall for us isn't falling anymore. There were adjustments that they had to make.
Exactly, and that's bringing it to the next level. Nayla Barber, very good at the net, blocking. We saw her do this against USC, but just instinctively moves inside, presses over the net. Beautiful execution. She has very little experience playing on the beach.
Tied up at 3 apiece in set number 1. Pulling off.
Got the back line. Oh, actually, I thought it hit back line. They're asking the referee to check it. Long Beach State actually, the players on Long Beach State actually said it was in. You don't even have to check the ball mark. That is some good sportsmanship. You see it bounce on the line.
Megan McNamara serving, number 31 in blue. She's the right-handed hitter out of these twins. They're from Vancouver, Canada. And they had a huge win a couple of weeks ago against then number 1 Pepperdine. It was a big victory, not only for the Bruins, their first win over a top 3 opponent, but all the pressure on these number 1s as it came down to them.
And they responded in a very mature manner, took care of business, came up with the big win. Look at this set is about 3-4 feet off the net. Megan McNamara right down the middle for the UCLA kill.
Into the net goes that one, and Nieto and Barber now trailing by 3.
One of the things I really like about this the McNamara twins for UCLA is that they're not huge, but they get the job done. They play big, they're explosive, they cover the court and find a way to put the ball down. Because I think if you see the direction of the sport, kids are getting bigger and bigger and more specialized. But these two, Megan and Nicole McNamara, do a great job doing it all.
Yeah, and you mentioned people getting bigger and bigger, the athletes, but huge, not the advantage that it is in indoor. Let's say in terms of the middle hitters and the specialization, there's nowhere to hide on the sand.
No, if you're big and you're a big blocker, you need to be able to move and cover the court and have ball control as well.
Bushler and Muno with a 3-point lead on court number 2 right now, while the McNamara twins with a tenuous 1-point lead. Both teams is the first set of action in this second flight.
Good, hard-driven ball. Nicole McNamara sees the retreating blocker, Nayla Barber, hits it hard, and she cannot defend it.
Down the line. Pulling off the net, and it goes wide.
So Long Beach State likes to run in offense. So when they pass the ball well, they run basically a play set. That was kind of a shooty wide set. But for me, I like a nice up and down apex set, and it gives the hitter a chance to get her feet to the ball and move the ball around the court herself.
One of the best things about beach volleyball is that the lingo can be sometimes as loose as the attitude. So a shooty wide set, I like that term.
Is that what I said?
You said shooty wide
okay,
set.
Well, on the flatter side.
No, there's nothing wrong with it. I like it. We can call it anything we want there. You're a 3-time Olympian. Whatever you say is what we're going to go with. Shooty wide set. You like an apex instead. I like it. Nothing wrong with it. Wasn't criticizing.
I just feel like a set with an apex gives the hitter more opportunities to put the ball away. Usually a play set, you're trying to create space and opportunity for a kill.
The over set is going to get pounced upon by Nicole McNamara.
That last play, perfect pass by Rachel Nieto. Watch the pass. Great pass. They want to run a back set, but this ball set too tight. Easy point for UCLA.
Nieto. And again, it's just been some ball service or some ball handling errors or long balls, and now it's a 5-point lead for McNamaras.
Don't get me wrong, I like play sets when they're appropriate, but if you're making too many hitting errors, you need to simplify, and that's what I think Long Beach State needs to do.
And so while it's a 5-point lead for the McNamara twins on court 1 and pair number 1, the other court battling as well. And really, with 1 point on the board already for UCLA, this second flight of games, critical for Long Beach State, as if UCLA wins a second flight of games, they win the match in the duel.
Yes, and Long Beach State, as we know, as we said earlier, fighting for a nice seed in the national picture to win that at-large bid to the NCAA tournament.
It'll be a while still before they find out how those teams are, so there's still time for these teams to make an impact, honestly, positive or negative. Taking a look at Long Beach this season and kind of what this 49ers team has done. They've lost to UCLA twice this season. They started off rough. You mentioned those big players that were gone.
Yeah, they started down 2 players and were really shifting, trying to find the right chemistry. All the first 5 losses to ranked teams. Then they went on a nice run, 9-1. And then this Saturday in Hermosa, it was raining, and they came up with 2 losses.
Now those 2 losses were quality losses. 1 Pepperdine, number 4 UCLA, and so we'll see kind of how much that factors in.
Nice defensive play by Long Beach State right there. Rachel Nieto so quick, able to set that ball up for Nayla Barber, number 2, and the Long Beach State point.
Can you check this line here for me, please? Got pushed out a little bit back there.
An opportunity for Barber at the back line serving. Arrived at Long Beach State after transferring from Marquette. That was on the indoor side. And a crush, but is wide. Another point for the Beach.
Long Beach State well prepared to play the lefty, going after Nicole McNamara. Blocking her angle, forcing her out of bounds.
And they go to her again. Tries to poke over the block. Beautiful turn by Barber. Pulling off this time, and another great dig by Barber. The 49ers, 2 great defensive plays in this rally. And a chase down by Nicole McNamara. Hard-fought point by Long Beach State.
Well, you see the strength of this Long Beach State team, really strong at the net, and then Rachel Nieto keeping the ball alive for the 49ers.
Some good defense by the 49ers, now within 2. And they continue to go after the lefty. She goes to her cut, and it works this time.
Nicole McNamara with the sharp cross-court hit, able to sit with a 12-9 lead.
They're just trying to funnel her right there as Nieto is in place. She goes just inside her. Action continuing right after the break.
Said yes, you're the best man.
I got it.
12 Network.
Welcome back. 2 courts of action going in the second flight of matches at Sunset Canyon Beach Volleyball courts. We've been with the ones for a while. McNamara twins holding court there. Let's go over to the 4 pairs on court 2, where Bushler and Muno, who trailed 4-2, have been now on a 13-6 run.
And now leading 15-11.
And this pair for Long Beach State, Grahovic and Garner, is a pair that just fought their way into the playing teams, the top teams for Long Beach State.
Actually, they were out of the top 5 until yesterday. They had an inter-squad scrimmage, and they beat both the 5s and 6s to move into this 4 spot.
Mike Campbell saying he wanted to motivate those last 3 teams on his roster, the 4s, 5s, and 6s, and that Grahovic and Gardner beat both the 4s and the 5s 22-20 in all the sets. Really fought for it.
Yeah, and I like having that inter-squad scrimmage, really pushing the level. And if you're the best team, you get to represent. And I like that Mike Campbell does that for his program.
You know, when we talked about the national championship, a team-only program, what that does eliminate is teams that have, or universities that have, one great pair. Because before, if you had one great pair, you could put a lot of time and effort and attention into them and maybe get to the championship. Now, you have to share the love, spread the love, and you have to have at least 10 strong.
Correct. You need 5 teams that can push and get wins. If your number 1's team is great, good. It's still 1 point. If your number 5's team is great, still 1 point. They're all evenly ranked in terms of the victory.
Bushler grabs it. Muno recovers quickly. And the defense from UCLA, strong. And it's on the line.
Riley Bushler with the big dig. It's funny, she dug the ball, and instead of kicking out to the left side, which she should do, she went behind Zana. But Zana Muno, nice experience on the beach, sets her partner up for the kill.
Bushler serves at Garner, the smaller of the two players, and Garner puts it to the back line, Rainbow.
It's interesting, as a defensive team, do you want to play the short player who's got all the shots like Ariana Garner? Look at this perfect rainbow cross-court shot. That's tough to defend. Or do you go with the bigger player, her partner, who's more of a hitter?
And Holly, at 5'7", did you see most of the serves throughout your career, or did it change throughout your career as people got to know your shots?
Well, I always played with a big bomber, so I got every serve.
Every serve for your entire career?
Pretty much, yeah.
Did you like that?
I did, actually.
I bet you did. Muno turns it the other way towards the net. And while Bushler and Muno are 5 points ahead of Garner and Grahovic, it's a similar fate on court number 1. The McNamaras lead by 4, both in set number 1. Muno and Bushler receiving approximately the same number of serves, as Long Beach State mixing up their attacking point.
That time going to Peyton Grahovic, the bigger player for Long Beach State. I'd like to see Zana Muno use her topspin serve. She's so aggressive from the service line and is able to score easy points for UCLA when she stays aggressive.
Bushler, just smart, goes to the back line, and it is now set point for UCLA.
Well, I like that Jenny Jordan says, you know, Zana Muno's the coach on the court. She's got the experience, and you can see her talking to Riley Bushler. Riley Bushler is a great volleyball player. With a little bit of coaching, she's going to learn that beach game and make a really nice transition to be a great beach player.
The coach is telling us that Muno was frustrated at the beginning of the season because she hadn't been training on the beach like everybody else, and so it took her a little while to say she was getting beat by people who were playing all fall, but boy, she has gone right back to original form.
Well, Zana Muno was indoors training every day, and you're a setter, and you're not getting any defensive or offensive repetitions except for setting the ball. So that's the challenge, finding your rhythm as a beach player when you don't have any reps.
Muno sets Bushler. The pokey is denied, but to the outside, and so set number 1 from the fours goes to the pair of Bushler and Muno. So let's take a look back at the action going on in court 1. The 1 pairs, McNamara twins facing Barber and Nieto right now. When we last were checking in with them, the McNamara twins with a big lead, and right now they are at set point. Doug, the lefty, puts it down. Nicole, and so set 1 victories for both the 1s and the 4s in the second flight of games. UCLA in control after picking up the first point of the duel in the first flight.
Well executed by the McNamaras right there. Defense and a kill.
Hey there, can I help you with anything?
Triumphs right here.
Welcome back to Sunset Canyon Beach Volleyball Courts. The UCLA Bruins with a 1-0 lead in this duel against Long Beach State. Top 10 matchup on Pac-12 Network. Right now, second flight of games, second set. First set won by UCLA on both courts. Let's go back to the four pairs on court two. Bushler and Muno fighting against Garner and Grahovic. And Holly, what'd you like when you saw in the first set?
Well, I thought Zana Muno was doing what she does well. Scramble around defensively, set her partner Riley Bushler up, and tell her where to shoot the ball. That's so important, especially when playing a little scrappy player like Ariana Garner for Long Beach State. She shoots the ball well. I think that's really extremely hard to defend somebody who shoots the ball as well as she does. That's the aggressive topspin serve that I want to see Zana Muno hit. Her toss was a little bit low. She was unable to get on top of it.
Good time for it, though. The beginning of the second set after you won the first set.
Exactly. I think it's important to start the set really aggressive with your serve, and then you can always dial it back if you need to, instead of starting tentative and trying to dial it up at the end of a set.
Open hand dig by Muno, followed by a cutting. But what a pickup. Long Beach State had plenty of defense on all their courts today.
Lots of running back and forth. Good touches by Long Beach State.
Touching here?
Long Beach State complaining it was a lift on the dig, but the referee saying no.
Yeah, Muno they're talking about with the open hand to dig. Holly, there's times that you can do it and times that you can't.
The ball has to be hard driven in order for you to dig the ball. That was the scramble play at the end, but the ball has to be hard driven in order to dig the ball with your open hands overhand.
Yeah, and to Muno it looked like it was, to the official as well. And so a 1-point lead for Bushler and Muno. Now a team game, team aspect, and here's where it changes. It's best 3 out of 5 in terms of the duel and the points itself. Right now UCLA leading both their ones and four pairs. If these teams both win this set, the duel, and for all purposes, is over, and that UCLA would have 3 wins. Long Beach State could not come back from it. Bushler goes for that corner.
Beautiful court vision by Riley Bushler. She's made the adjustment. Long Beach State had a block on her early, but now she recognized the blocks in her angle, going deep over the angle block. If you're Long Beach State, okay, then you counter with a line block or a late drop down the line. You make an adjustment. You don't continue to do the same thing.
UCLA temporarily lost track of their serving order. You saw Bushler back there. Then Aware goes to Muno with the top spin. And a nice play off the hands.
Good flat hit by Peyton Grahovic. You see she hits it flat, getting the fingertips of Riley Bushler.
Grahovic serves at Bushler.
Grahovic that time still stayed in the angle block, but Riley Bushler hitting it down the line. You see the blocker way over, not even on the ball. That allows Riley Bushler to see what's going on defensively.
We talk a lot about beach-only players, but this pairing of Bushler and Muno will both be indoor again in the fall. Holly, what do you think they take out of this sand or beach season into their indoor season?
Well, I think Zana Muno with a great beach background, I think it's just going to help her confidence-wise, experience-wise, maturity. And for Riley Bushler, I think it makes her a more well-rounded player. She'll see the court better as an offensive player. She'll recognize that the blocker, Peyton Grahovic, is standing in her angle and shoot a nice shot over her. It helps you recognize and be more aware of what's going on in the court.
And Jenny Johnson-Jordan, during our interview, assistant coach for UCLA, talked about how Muno coaches up Bushler on the court. Muno, of course, a setter, and you and I have talked before about there's a disproportionate number of setters who are great in the sand in beach volleyball. Why is that?
Well, I think it's because you have to be a thinker. As a setter, you have to know who to set in what situation, read what the defense is doing, and that's something you have to do in beach volleyball as well.
And so for Muno, she'll take that into next season as well. Meanwhile, on the other court, the McNamaras doubling up Barber and Nieto in set number 2. And so for Zana Muno in the indoor, and she's, of course, a communicator there as well. So more coaching and more communicating in every role.
Correct. Zana Muno there called on a foot fault, trying to find her serve. We've seen her top spin serve. It just looks like her toss is out of rhythm. And if you're a jump server, you need to have a good toss so you can go up and hit it high and clear net consistently.
Bushler dug just as Grahovic was going to retreat.
Ariana Garner, a good defender, kind of cheating over to the angle where Bushler's been hitting. She makes a good dig, but Long Beach State unable to control it and keep it alive.
And with that, the score now tied up on court number 2. The fours, Bushler and Muno, had a bigger lead and then ended up giving away with some errors. You mentioned the foot fault, the service error, some good play by Garner and Grahovic. Off hands.
This UCLA pair sides out well. I'd like to see them score better, and that starts with an aggressive serve. Riley Bushler's got some nice size defensively at the net, and Zana Muno can run around and dig lots of balls for UCLA.
To the back line, Muno pops it up. Bushler, a hittable ball. And now Garner goes to that same spot, but it's wide, and it's a Bruin point.
But because Zana Muno ran down that first ball, Ariana Garner was a little tentative, turned the ball a little bit more, made the hitting error. Great hustle play by Zana Muno.
Meanwhile, that last serve was a jump float. We'll see what she does here. Not laying the top spin on it right now. And back to the corner again, and boy, does Garner have a great shot there.
Absolutely. I'd love to see Riley Bushler drop angle and then Zana Muno sit in the line shot and make her go somewhere else. She showed she's got a nice deep line shot.
Ariana Garner comes from Santa Barbara Community College. She was a setter and libero indoor. So again, to the point about setters being the thinkers and talkers back there, beach-only player for the 49ers.
Ping. Grahovic with a back line ace for Long Beach State. Ties it up at 10-all.
Bushler was back line, gets it past Grahovic, and UCLA back on top by just by 1.
Here's good recognition, seeing where the block is, deep corner shot. Garner, nice touch on it, can't control it.
So we'll step away from a break while they're catching their breath. Bruins in the driver's seat with a 1-0 lead in this duel.
How many guests?
Home of the UCLA Bruins. You're watching Pac-12 Los Angeles.
Hey, if you don't see a seat that you like, go get one. Bring it on over to Sunset Canyon Beach Volleyball Courts. I like that. She's making her own day there, the UCLA Bruins, with a 1-0 lead in this duel. A top 10 matchup between Long Beach State and UCLA as the action will continue on court 2 for Bushler and Muno. We're going to step over to court 1, where the McNamara twins are leading Barber and Nieto. A 5-1 win, a 5-1 run, Holly, for the McNamara twins.
And you saw in the last play, I don't know if you saw it, but straight down hit, open net, no block in front. Nicole McNamara put it down.
Saying, really, no block? Have you heard about me, read my bio? That team is so strong.
I feel like the team for Long Beach State, Nayla Barber and Rachel Nieto, their ball control is so good, but they're pushing their offense so much. They're playing high-risk offense, and I feel like if they were a little bit safer in terms of up and down set, they would be smoother offensively and give up less points.
On a side switch, the McNamara twins, Nicole and Megan, with a 10-point lead. And Holly, we've talked about UCLA trying to get to the national championship. Cy Metzger saying this is a big part of why this Bruin program has improved. They work so hard.
Well, Nicole and Megan McNamara really leading the charge for UCLA.
This is just the beginning of some great volleyball on Pac-12 networks. Tomorrow, more fantastic volleyball. It's a doubleheader. Arizona State and Arizona at 3 o'clock, and then Pepperdine and USC. That's 1 versus 2 at 4:30 Pacific time on Pac-12 network.
And for the Pepperdine USC matchup, these teams have both met once each with 1 victory. So they're 1-1 on the season. This will be the tiebreak.
Yeah, they're both have won national championships as well. Over the years, USC last year won a team and pair championship. As we mentioned, the NCAA not going to do a pair championship this year, but the 1 pairs for USC of Sarah Hughes and Kelly Clays is a very dominant pair.
They are the team to beat. Just across the country, there's no team like them. They've kind of got a target on their back, but they continue to dominate and get better and take care of business when they're in the sand.
And yet I really like what you said, Holly. They still amount to just 1 point for USC. Doesn't matter how big they are, how big their win is, it's only worth 1.
And that's where the team aspect comes in. So they can take care of business on their court, but 2s, 3s, 4s, and 5s have to take care of business. So they need to support their teammates and make them better as well.
And for USC, that has been happening. They moved into the 1 spot again in the national rankings. Meanwhile, the lefty, Nicole McNamara, comes around the other side and crushes another.
My favorite thing about watching the McNamara sisters is the way they play big. Nobody told them they're too small. They do it all. They get up and they hit, they block well, they play aggressive, and they're so quick they really create some problems for their opponents.
They also appear to be, from a distance, very emotionally steady. When you talk about playing big, there's also playing calm. Nobody's really freaking out at any point. They're winning big now, but they weren't earlier in the year.
No, and I think there's a special chemistry playing with your sister. You've competed with her. Sometimes you're probably less sensitive to them because you know them well, but you can also push that person a lot more because they're your sister and you've trained with them for so long.
With that point, it is now match point for the 1 pairs as Nicole McNamara and Megan McNamara in control. They're the Pac-12 beach volleyball pair of the week, by the way. Second time for them. They have been incredibly consistent over the last month for the Bruins. Match point. And not yet, says Nayla Barber, but then she sends it a little long and UCLA takes it in 2.
Long Beach State trying to be aggressive with their offense but making way too many errors. UCLA taking care of business.
2 points on the board for UCLA in this duel, and so will it come down to the 4s? As Grahovic and Gardner for Long Beach State fighting against Bushler and Muno. Scores 2-0 in this duel, and if Bushler and Muno here on court number 2 win this match, well, they will take the duel, and it's a 4-0, now a 5-0 run by Muno and Bushler.
Zana Muno with a jump float ace right there. Ball just dropped right in front of Gardner and unable to pop it up and play it.
Muno serves, and there's a tough serve by her.
Zana Muno getting Long Beach State in trouble, not serving right at the player, making her move. And that's the kind of serving I like to see.
Grahovic, little. Muno, left hand. Love that Gardner saw it, came in, pop, pop, as the 49ers defense is unrelenting. And so Muno looks big, goes little.
Beautiful execution with the cut shot in transition. Riley Bushler putting up a nice hittable ball and then cut shot for the kill.
This is match point for UCLA and also would effectively win the duel for UCLA if UCLA picks up this 3rd point. Crushed by Grahovic.
Peyton Grahovic with the cross-court kill, but all UCLA needs to do right now is side out for the victory.
Service goes to Bushler. Muno, the experienced setter. Bushler says, I know what to do with this, and with that, UCLA wins the match.
It's fun to see the development of Riley Bushler and Zana Muno getting better and better at her craft as well for UCLA.
UCLA wins that, Holly, on an 8-1 run at the end of the set for Bushler and Muno. What's ahead?
Well, I think they're just going to need to continue to improve the next 3 or 4 weeks and really make a smooth run, so they're playing solid ball at the end of the year, because what they want is that NCAA title.
They win this duel versus Long Beach State by virtue of those 3 points already gathered. For Long Beach State, they've got a couple of weeks left. What do they need to do with those weeks to try to get noticed to go to Alabama?
Well, they need to continue to train hard and try and get a big victory that will put them in the mention or in the pool to win an at-large bid.
For UCLA, though, they helped their own cause, winning a duel over 6th-ranked Long Beach State, 3-0, as the 1s, 4s, and 2s got it done for the Bruins. Thanks for joining us on a beautiful day at Sunset Canyon Beach Volleyball Courts. We had a little bit of everything today, some lounging, some fun, and some hard-hitting action. For our director, Gary Milkus, our producer, Billy Chusid, and my partner, Holly McPeak, I'm Anne-Marie Anderson saying so long from the sand. The Bruins take the duel over the 49ers.